I got married 5 years ago when I was 24. Now, it's the three of us living together. My husband, who's my age, our 4-year-old daughter Marie, and me. Plus, we're expecting a new addition to our family in a few months.
Tada! It's another girl.
Today, after finding out the gender of our baby during a checkup, I decided to surprise my husband and Marie. I bought a tiny pair of baby shoes and wrapped them up so you couldn't see them inside. I had told them if the shoes were pink, it was a girl, if green, it was a boy.
Yay. I'm getting a little sister.
Marie, who had always seemed envious of her friends with sisters, was overjoyed at the news, and of course, my husband was excited as well. Shouldn't we start thinking about a name? Even though the birth is several months away, my husband looks forward to the new family member's arrival so much that he asks about a name almost every evening. Naturally, I'm happy too, thinking about how much more joyous it will be when we become a family of 4. That night, after Marie had gone to sleep, we couldn't stop thinking about names for our second daughter. We didn't get to bed until about 3 a.m., but we found the perfect name, so we welcomed the morning feeling happy, even though we were both sleep deprived. Aren't you tired? Will you be okay at work? I asked my husband in the morning as he's preparing to leave for work as usual. No worries at all. I'm so happy, and it doesn't bother me at all. My husband always responds with a bright smile, hardly ever showing any sign of hardship. Okay, good. Have a great day. I was always smiling, too, influenced by his positivity.
Daddy, do your best.
Marie felt the same way. Thanks, you too, Marie. My husband gave Marie a big hug before he left for work. I had no idea then that these ordinary mornings would become precious memories I'd yearn to return to in the future. That night,
Daddy's late, huh?
my husband, who usually comes home around 7 p.m., hadn't returned even as it neared 9 p.m. Maybe he's working overtime. It is rare though. I had put plastic wrap over the dinner I'd made and was waiting with Marie when I said, "Marie, it's getting late, let's eat now." I put my husband's dinner in the fridge, and just as we started eating, the house phone rang. Could it be him? But if it were, he'd call on the cell. With that thought, I answered, only to be met with shocking news. It was a call from the hospital. My husband had been hit by a car and was transported to the hospital. Is my husband all right? I asked with a trembling voice, but they didn't respond. I have little recollection of what followed, but I hurried to the hospital with Marie. However, my husband had already passed away by the time we arrived. He'd been brought in with hardly any consciousness and had drawn his last breath soon after. I couldn't comprehend what was said, whether this was reality. My mind went completely blank. I couldn't think of anything. What was happening didn't seem to register with 4-year-old Marie, who shed no tears. I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't even cry. But even so, time passed as it always does, and my husband's family was there to support me, a complete wreck, through the funeral arrangements. His parents, having lost their son in his 20s, must have been suffering, yet they cared for me through their tears. Relatives and my husband's friends tried to support our family, gently giving us space or playing with Marie to keep her occupied. But I just couldn't seem to face forward. How am I supposed to raise Marie on my own if you're gone? Am I supposed to carry the lives of both Marie and our unborn child by myself? Didn't we say we looked forward to being a family of 4? Why did you have to die and leave me? You always told me you'd protect me, that I could rely on you. Liar. You're only 29. I wasn't ready for you to go so soon. Sadness, despair, frustration, anxiety about the future. A whirlwind of emotions flooded me, leaving me unable to discern what was what. Unable to direct these feelings at anyone, I pretended not to notice them and could only gaze at my husband's smiling face in his portrait. After the funeral service ended, and as people began to leave the venue to prepare for the wake,
Daddy's finally here.
Marie looked back at me and said that, thinking she might be playing some pretend game. I couldn't bring myself to deny or affirm it, so I just smiled at her. Maybe she noticed I was down, Or maybe it was because my reaction was subdued, but Mary walked to the front of the room where the altar was and started talking to one of the funeral home staff.
Hey, Daddy finally woke up. Sleeping in a box like that would make you sore.
Mary said. The funeral home staff, unable to understand what Marie was saying, looked perplexed. And understandably so. The place Marie was pointing to wasn't the portrait or the casket where her father lay, but an empty space. This kind of thing had happened with Marie before. Neither my husband or I had anything close to psychic sensitivities. But since she began to talk, she'd claim to see our deceased cat or be playing with something invisible at the park, experiences that would seem horror-like to us adults. But she appeared joyful, so we didn't worry much. We had also heard that it's not uncommon for young children to say such things. But it was hard to believe that Marie, who doesn't fully grasp the concept of death, would be telling lies about this. Could it really be that my husband was there? I approached Marie as she spoke into the void.
Wasn't it cramped? When will you come home? There's some of your favorite omelet fries in the fridge.
Marie continued with innocent words. But no matter how hard I strained my eyes, I couldn't see him. Marie. I started to speak, but at the same time,
Why are you crying, Daddy?
Marie asked, Is Daddy crying? I asked, and Marie nods firmly. With that response, I felt my husband was there, even though I couldn't see him. And then, like a dam had burst, my tears started flowing. I hadn't shed a single tear since my husband passed away. It's me who wants to cry, Daddy. Why did you have to die? I can't just accept that, not so suddenly. You left without a goodbye. I don't want to part. Your body is here, but you won't move anymore. You're there, but I can't see you. Why does Marie see you and not me? I want to see your face again, too. Please don't leave me. We said we'd make lots of memories, the four of us. Keep your promise. Please come home again. I cried out to my husband, whose presence I couldn't be sure of, and collapsed to the floor. Marie, who had never seen me like this, looked on with a shocked expression. Then,
Don't cry, Mama and Daddy.
Marie started crying as well. Seeing her like that brought me back to my senses. If Marie could see my husband, seeing both of us crying would make her anxious. My tears didn't stop, but I hugged her as tightly as possible. No matter how much I cried or regretted, I had to protect Marie and our unborn child on my own from now on. Realizing this, I felt deeply how fortunate I was to be able to hold my child. He will never be able to hug his children or playfully lift them in the air again. The one who's sad is him. The one filled with regret is him. I'd been so caught up in my own sorrow and fears for the future that I hadn't considered his feelings at all. What was he thinking at the moment of the accident? How brave was he when he was last conscious? How much did it hurt? I can't even imagine. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My love, if my husband is no longer here, I must love our children enough for both of us the way he loved us. That might be the last thing I can do for him. Marie, whom I was holding tightly, called out to me. Oh, I'm sorry, I said. My painful tears had already stopped.
It was warm and comfy.
Marie said with a smile. I relieved by her smile. I found myself able to smile for the first time in a while. Then, Mary looked towards where nothing was visible to me and said,
Good Daddy's smiling too. When Mommy smiles, Daddy does too.
I looked where Marie's gaze was directed, but of course, I couldn't see my husband. However, if he is watching over me and can rest in peace with a smile, I shall keep smiling. That's what I felt. Months passed, and we got back the phone my husband had at the time of the accident, restored. There was an unsent message likely meant for me. Sorry, I'm gonna be a bit late. On my way home now. Stopped by a store and found this really cute baby outfit. Should I get it, or is it too early? I'll hold off. Let's go shopping together next time. The three of us, with Lena. That's the name we'd thought of for our child on the way. The message never got sent, but it reached us in this way. And in the photo folder was a picture of the cute pink baby outfit he'd probably intended to buy. He did cherish our family until the very end. That day, I cried again, but I was able to smile soon after. A few months later, Lena was born, healthy and lively, with round eyes like her father's. And she looked so lovely in the pink baby outfit her father chose for her in the end. Today, like every day, I'm giving all my love to Miri and Lena with a smile. So, you can rest easy and watch over us with a smile, okay?